bunch of times, like the actual song, because that's when the ideas start forming. Like the first thing I thought of was tick, tick, boom, in the con where it happens, when they go click, boom. I was like, oh, that's obvious that has to go in there. So it's sort of just taking the phrases and figuring out, okay, and this is the part of the song that it gets really intense or where the energy builds, so this has to have a really important lyric. So it's just sort of figuring it all out, but it's really fun for me. It's something that I really always loved doing. I did it since I was just in high school. I used to do it for fun, so now that I get to do it professionally kind of is amazing.
I have to say, because I only talked to Tessa on the phone, when I met her, I was like, wow, you matched your voice.
Also, wait, can I tell the story about how I sent you pictures of my cat?
Yes,
because I thought you were my dad? Okay.
Yes.
This is Luna! Okay. So, this is so funny. So I first started talking to David, and right after I got a kitten, and I was so excited. Her name is Luna Lovecat. She's this beautiful white kitten, and my dad's name is David, and he was the most recent David that was on my phone. So I started texting him all these pictures.
And I love cats, and I have a cat named Henry, and I wrote back and I was like, cool.
Are you sure these are
And I was like, did you mean to send this to me?
And I was like, yeah, because I thought it was my dad, trying to be funny. I'm like, Dad, yeah. And then at the end of the day, I realized that it wasn't my dad. I said, oh my God.
And that's how Conward happens.
And that's where it began. So embarrassing.
So Jason, I want to talk a little bit about the music for the show and your role, and can you explain it to the folks?
Sure. I actually feel more comfortable sitting this way. So
it's been that way quite a bit this weekend.
I'm that guy. I'm him.
That's it.
That's it. Actually, well, going off of the parody lyrics, first of all, they were so good because they fit exactly. We didn't have to kind of rearrange them or anything. They just fit. Especially something as rhythmic as Hamilton, it just was right there. So we took the original song and we could use the music as it was. The interesting thing about how the music was, because there were kind of two different scenarios. There was existing music that we pulled. We had Good Morning Baltimore and all that stuff that exists, and we just used that. But then there was the new song that was written for the end of it, exactly. And so that was kind of a scratch. So that was. They wrote that song and sent it to us, and that had to be arranged. We added vocal harmonies. We had to be orchestrated for our band. So that was kind of a from scratch, actually doing a musical, from out of nowhere. So it was kind of neat to do a little bit of both and make both kinds of things work for what we wanted to accomplish here.
Yeah, definitely. And David, can you explain to the audience who wrote our original song?
Yeah, of course. So Alan Zachary and Michael Weiner, who wrote First Date and 17 Again, and they do a lot of work for Disney as well. They wrote a great song. And they met with Melissa and I, and we showed a video of the Love You Bone parody, and we talked about what we were going to do, and they also got it. And I think you realize this weekend, we all get it. It's that idea. And so we met, and it's one of those weird, if-then things. I was with Anthony when I met Alan. It was after a concert at the Hollywood Bowl, and
a certain lady, Idina Menzel, you might have heard her, did a concert at the Hollywood Bowl.
Yes. Yeah. So it was after Idina's concert, and we were backstage, and I heard them say Disney, and I was like, what?
Huh?
And
we started chatting. Huge.
Sorry. Disneyland. And then we reached out, and I said, you guys are interested in this? And they were super excited, and what they delivered, I think it was so spot on. It was really great. And we did a lot of shifting around some of the lyrics. It was just great reference after great reference, but there's one, up till now Schubert Alley was a dream from afar, but open your eyes, look around, here you are. And Sierra and Melissa in the office, they said that lyric was so great. We're like, you're right, and we shifted that to the end. And then Jason helped orchestrate how we could make that really the true testament of the song, of that you are here. We are all together in this, and I think that was just a great way to. They did such a great job with that song.
Yeah, I love the song too. I think we have the song up on YouTube if you haven't heard it yet. It's the big finale number, so definitely check it out if you haven't heard it yet. So Andrew,
Yes.
What did you do?
What did I do?
Yeah.
Basically, David asked me to help punch up a couple of the jokes that were in that he had already written, and so so I got the script about 2 weeks before or a week before they started rehearsals, and then kind of went through and he had marked saying in red, "Can we? This is a dummy joke. Can you like fix that?" So for example, there was one, like when she says, when Danny says everything, there's two things, but there's when Danny says all about like, "You have really bad ideas, Danny," and she says like the Sweeney Todd one, about I bake pies and that idea. And that was David's, and then I kind of added one about this immersive Frozen experience. And there was also one I had where it was like a cut. It was like, I said, I'm gonna give you, you want to give options. So I gave this whole thing that Danny was gonna, like she had a homecoming and she wanted to reenact the end of Carrie at it, but not the blood part, just the part where the mom sings the song. So it was just like she was gonna walk in the homecoming, and it was like bad ideas. But
I love bad ideas, but I said let's not that.
So I gave him a lot of bad ideas of bad ideas.
The joke is that
we're gonna do this. Yeah. So talk about that.
So in the original, we made a lot of Hamilton references because Hamilton. But we
We're all
found we just
obsessed.
had,
We're all obsessed.
We're obsessed.
but
Yeah,
we
we
found
can't
we just
help
had too many, and there's so many other wonderful musicals that we should also represent. So the original reference was it was something like trying to do all that while finishing high school is more difficult than getting tickets to Hamilton. And we're like, great, but we've said that same joke like
Yeah.
20 times.
It's all too painful for us still.
So this was in rehearsal, and I said, "Can you help me?" And so I got a text that was
So I gave him a text. So it's going to lead in is trying to do all that while finishing high school is blank. Less likely than a revival of Glory Days.
There's gonna be a lot of groan-worthy ones.
Less likely than Aaron Tveit having a bad hair day. Less likely than nerds making it to June. Rough. More impossible than understanding what's going on if you second acted if then.
I picked that one because it was the least offensive.
Well, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. Less likely than Netflix launching a reboot of Smash, and then, which also is oddly likely. I mean,
I'm sure they will.
And less likely than Neil Marin and Craig Zaden adding an audience to those NBC Live musical events.
That'd be something.
But like I would say, like it was a matter of like I knew that Danny, that character, wouldn't say half of those, but I was like, I'm gonna give you some options, and so like you leave it to the Avenue Q puppets to make the nerds joke.
But it brings up a really important and interesting thing, which is I think, you know, when people are writing parodies, a lot of times they go for something more cutting or bitchy and one of the things I think that was so right about the whole opening is that it had the right spirit. It had a spirit of joy. And it also, I mean, it was funny and silly, but it had a spirit of celebration and joy. And so there was, any cleverness was, I don't know, it was in support of that. So I think that's just really important.
And Andrew I mean, if you follow Knowing Actor Friend, your wit is so spot on. And you made that great joke about trying to, it was a budget joke. We were like, what is something, it was Melissa's idea. It was like, what can they say that they didn't have enough money for? And what is a big budget item? And you came up with a joke about, we can only afford one out of the 4 out of 2 puppets.
Wait, that was me.
That was you.
That was me.
That was in the Google Doc.
I write drunk a lot, kind of stuff. I'm kidding.
But it was that was such a great joke of like, it was just a wonderful reference and that we all could relate to, and I thought it was very successful.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I want to talk a little bit about the casting process for it. Where did these people come from, and who are some of our...
My phone book, a lot of them, honestly. I'm often on Facebook, but a few months ago, I just put a Facebook ad out that said, hey guys, I'm looking for an ensemble of people, and a lot of my friends responded, and I realized on the first day of rehearsal, they had no idea what they were signing up for. They knew they were going to be part of BroadwayCon, they didn't see a script, and there were 17 people that were like, yes. And those are the wonderful people you saw dancing in the opening, and moving chairs, and dancing in the finale. So those are a lot of friends from both Mark Kimmelman, who can't be here, our wonderful choreographer, and myself just gathering friends that wanted to be there. The principals were, we were trying to find cameos, so Anne Harad and Steve Rosen were already attached to BroadwayCon, and they're so wonderful. It was like, that's so successful. Yeah. And then everyone else just kind of came on board, whether I've worked with them on shows or concerts, just trying to cast likable people. Hopefully everyone at opening, you just liked them. But the last person we cast was Danny. What's so ironic is, in the original script, we kept calling her the Tracy character. It kept being called Tracy. And I was like, well, we can't call her Tracy, so why don't we just call her Danny? And then, I know, Anthony's eyes. And then we got a bunch of actresses' names from our friends at Telsey, and I looked at a lot of YouTube clips and then narrowed it down to 10, and then I said, hey guys, just record a clip of yourself singing Good Morning Baltimore. We got a bunch of clips and we watched them, and we chose Danny. And it was not until rehearsal we were like, oh right, you're playing the name, we cast a girl named Danny, playing Danny, and she was wonderful and so great. And so she also memorized that script within a week.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of words in that script too. So I want to talk to you a little bit, Anthony, about the rehearsal process.
My rehearsal process?
Well, yours was a little late, right?
Well, I had a performance of If Then in Costa Mesa on Wednesday night. Got out of there, 10:30 at night. Flew from there at 6 a.m. the next morning. 7 a.m. the next morning. Woke up at 5:30 the next morning, California time. Landed, went to rehearsal.
Not tired at all.
I was a little. My brain was a little fuzzy. But I did great, apparently, quoting the director. But I mean, I had full faith and trust in this man and this young lady and Melissa, and I knew how happy they were with how things were going. I also, Miguel Cervantes was one of the cast members he was one of the kids in the Con Where It Happens, that group. He was a member of the original Broadway cast of If Then, so that was just a nice bonus. And I certainly knew who Leslie and Rob were, but I didn't know them personally, so it was just a great way to meet them.
I met them at the same time. I didn't know them personally either.
It was just great to meet them, and it was just sort of like you slot in, and then I had to wear a top hat and cane.
Sorry.
So how much went on before Anthony joined?
A lot. We actually just started rehearsals on Monday. We did music, and Jason goes above and beyond always. And he was working on Con Where It Happens, and they were learning it. And he not only had put the lyrics to the music, but he also taught them all the harmonies and all the backups. And I was like, wow, that's above and beyond. You're not just hearing just a melody line, you're hearing all the harmony, which made it feel much more like a Broadway musical.
Well, two things on that, actually. I was like, this audience is going to know the recording of the song, so I was like, let's make it sound like the recording. You know what I mean? Like, let's go for total reality. And the other thing is that David was so used to hearing, and I wish we had it right now, this amazing vocal demo that Tessa did of her lyrics that she sent so we could hear what the parody lyrics like with it. And it's her doing the entire song alone, and it's amazing.
It's
and
fantastic.
I shouldn't have brought it up because I don't have it here to play for you, but I wish I could.
We'll find it before the weekend ends.
So,
Melissa Nelly, ladies and gentlemen, Melissa Nelly.
cheers.
Melissa, everyone.
So people keep thanking people keep thanking me, which I really appreciate for making this happen. Melissa and Stephanie, who's not on the stage with her, literally. It's the heavy lifting. There's heavy lifting. I did the very light lifting of talking to cool people about being a part of it. They did all the heavy lifting of making it all happen. So there literally would not be anything if it weren't for Melissa and Stephanie. And their staff and volunteers.
I kind of walk around and go, you guys are awesome, and they do everything else.
She's downplaying.
So, but we rehearsed music, and then we, because we had a huge cast, we couldn't rehearse them all day. So it was a lot of like, we're gonna rehearse like this scene for an hour on Wednesday, and then that one on Thursday, and all this. And it was we finally put it together the night before on Thursday. We invited a few people there, and it was fun to watch Tessa and Melissa watch it.
Oh my God.
Just in the front row, just crying and holding their face. And I said to Mark and Jason, I was like, I think we did a good job. Like, I think they might like it.
It was so emotional to watch that just as a fan of Broadway, and it really hit me like how beautiful it was and how beautiful this convention is going to be. I was crying so much this weekend, but it was so worth it because I've been wanting this for years as a fan. I've been waiting for this, and I wouldn't want anyone else to do it than these people right here, and it's just what the Broadway community needs and deserves.
Oh, thank you.
So I want to point out that this demo is the actual file, audio file says, Con Where It Happens, Don't Judge Me, .mp3. Oh, yeah, that too.
Sutton, Foster, and Miss Bernadette walk into a room and the fangirl in me screams, Queens. I applaud and I Instagram, taking selfie pics that were only in my dreams, screens. A sing-along emerges with unprecedented Broadway star power and panels we can shape with the Q&A. The celebrities do free signing autograph sessions, and that's only on the first day. I wanna be at the con where it happens, the con where it happens, the con where it happens. I wanna be at the con where it happens, the con where it happens, the con where it happens. I will finally know how the shows are made, the art of the trade, and I wanna cosplay. I hope one day that'll happen, cause I wanna be at the con where it happens.
That's good. That's good.
So who has seen the La Vie Boheme parody that we did at Leaky 2013? If you want a treat and to find out how we found out that Tessa is such a genius parody writer, is that we were writing a parody to La Vie Boheme, which is how Anthony got introduced to the world of mischief management conventions. We said in a meeting that we were going to do this opening ceremony and we were going to have all these characters and they were going to be in a cafe someplace at some point, and one of my staff, I don't remember who, or no, it was me, sorry, who said, it all becomes a blur, who said, oh yeah, and that's when Anthony walks in and they do La Vie Boheme as a joke. And the rest of it, yeah, Jordan, and I think it was like, no, that's exactly what happens. And so we started writing it. We had like maybe like 25% to 40%, somewhere around there, but all those like crazy fast pieces at the end, we said we need help. In the meantime, we had announced that Anthony was coming. Tessa texted me, she guessed that that's what we were doing. And she just kind of went, so if you need any help with anything, I can do a thing. And we sent her the unfinished lyrics and she, within a week, had banged them out. And so as soon as we knew we were doing parodies, especially something as crazy as The Room Where It Happens, we said, we gotta get Tessa. Now I've gotta explain to David who Tessa is and why, and explaining
why she's sending
who
me
you
cat
are.
photos.
Yeah. Explaining who you are is harder than I
Hello,
imagined.
welcome to my life.
She's just like this like ball of energy was the first thing I explained, and then after you met, the first thing you said to me was like, oh my god, she is a ball of energy. Anyway,
Do people in the room also know you've been on Broadway yourself? Is that known?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know. It's not widely known.
She was in the original Broadway cast of Billy
Billy Elliot. Yeah. That was really cool.
Yeah, so that's cool too.
Yeah.
So, you know.
You know.
We don't hang with no scrubs is what we're saying.
Gross.
No scrubs.
Well, I think that's pretty much all the questions I had for the opening. We're working on getting the full thing up on YouTube so that everyone will be able to see it in its entirety. Like I said earlier, the big finale number, our original song, is already up there on the BroadwayCon. It's BroadwayCon on YouTube. So, yeah, we want to thank Alan Zachary, Michael Weiner for creating
the
that.
fun Google Hangout thing and how that came together.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was a really fun
Let's
job.
talk
This is
about
the
it.
video. So we knew we wanted the opening to be full of awesome cameos, and we knew that the Offend tour was still going to be going on. So we just kind of sent the script to Anthony, Adina, LaChance, and James. And Anthony in a dressing room in Costa Mesa? Or
Yeah,
the
Costa Mesa, our personal dressing rooms were too... No, we were in Tempe.
Yeah, you were in Tempe.
So our personal dressing rooms were too tiny to do it in there, so that's why we had to be in the ensemble dressing room. That's why there's all those mirrors and lights. But Trey Ellett, who's my, you know, the swing, who's also my understudy, who's been performing Lucas while I've been here, very graciously operated the camera and read the off-camera lines that were then edited out for the, you know.
And then we got that, and then Jordan made it look like a Google Hangout video, and it was so much. I mean, it was like, what a crazy thing. And it was so cool.
And at the end, they were so eager, and I mean, they were. And LaShawn's, you know, had said to me repeatedly over the course of the last few weeks, "I wish I could be here." She wanted. I mean, she was one of the first people who came on board in the first place that we announced, and then that was before the tour had solidified. So she really, really, really wished she could be here. So she was really happy that she could be a part of it, and even in a small way like that. So, you know, it was really cool.
And I think one of my favorite stories about that Hangout video is that Melissa showed us like a preview clip of it before it had been turned into a Hangout.
We didn't know anything about it. Nothing about it. I just said, you want to see something cool.
And so we watched it, and we saw Anthony. We knew Anthony was going to be in the opening, and then when the other three walk out, like the room screamed and gasped because we didn't know it was going to happen, and they were like, "We're glad we built in the applause time," because
Wow, it was freaking loud.
it was pretty exciting.
And James, it was James' idea to be brushing his teeth. He always likes a bit.
There was some ad-libbing going on in that video, but
yeah,
it was great.
I just want to say thank you to all of you guys because we do these openings. We started these cons because we wanted them to really reflect the spirit of the fans, and the opening kind of evolved as just a bunch of fun and silliness that we do at our other conventions. And we knew when we were doing a Broadway month, we gotta step up our game a little bit. And so, we've never had an artistic director, a music director, consultants on the script, multiple parodies, rehearsals, stage managers. Like the stage management team, I can't even tell. I've never been more in awe of people in my life, and just thank you because you guys
put
really
numbers on the stage
made
that are
it.
still here.
It's very official. Their number.
It was something crazy walking into a Broadway rehearsal. We got like our demo from Alan and Michael of the song, and I was like, this is all a little bit professional.
And that is literally also how musicals happen. I mean, it just is all the same thing. It's just on maybe a little bigger scale, bigger studio, whatever, but it's the same thing. You get a demo of the songwriter plunking away on his or her keyboard, and you learn the song that way, or they walk in the room and they sit down at the piano literally and sing it for you sometimes, or whatever it is, and then you sort of all just get in the room, you try it, and it's the same thing.
The thing is that it's purely for the love of it, because we're not producing this musical to go play someplace and make money. It was for a one-time, making sure to set the tone right, and you guys all just got it so hardcore that it really, I think, I don't know, I'm really proud and happy, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting us have confetti cannons. That's how I wanted. We got confetti cannons.
Confetti cannons. Have you seen the still pictures with the confetti in the air?
Person, yes.
So beautiful.
I said that to Melissa pretty early on. I was like, I just want confetti cannons at the end because I love Disneyland.